Good evening. It is primary election night in Michigan, and the polls are officially closed. The results are coming in. Our team is watching some big races for you tonight, including the race for the Michigan governor's mansion on the Democratic ticket. The Associated Press has already called the race tonight for Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson.
On the Republican ticket, voters are deciding between Perry Johnson and John James. And we're also following the race for Michigan's open U.S. Senate seat, which is being watched closely all across the nation. Haley Stevens facing off against Abdul El-Sayed. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this primary election night. I'm Jessica Harthorn.
Thanks for being here. I'm Andy Dominiani. We've got team coverage tonight from the watch parties of the candidates, and we begin tonight with the gubernatorial race. Our political reporter, Remington Hernandez, joining us live from Democrat Jocelyn Benson's watch party in Detroit. She has already thanked her supporters, Remington, and declared an unofficial victory in this race.
Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson embraced her family as she declared victory here in Detroit. This was a result that had been widely expected, though it was a contested primary. The polls had shown her ahead for some time. The key points of her now general election campaign: costs down, wages up, and a government that works for all Michiganders. Let's take a listen to some of what she had to say.
Because that is the question facing voters this fall, my friends. Who do you want Michigan's leaders to work for? The people or the powerful? Well, you all know who I'll work for. I will work for all of you and every Michigander in this state. Not the highest bidder, not corporate interests, not Donald Trump, you.
Elected leaders, not just for the governor, but up and down the ballot, specifically referencing a trifecta.
Benson said that there will possibly be a record number of voters in this primary, and she touted her win as a landslide and is asking Michiganders to give her another landslide in November. Another theme was a Democratic trifecta. She would like to see another Democratic trifecta. And there were state lawmakers here, state senators. Some got on the stage and spoke, including Senator Darren Camilleri and Mallory McMorrow. There was also sitting Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, who is running for Secretary of State. He was up here, and Ellie Sabat, who is running for Attorney General, was mulling around in the crowd as well. They're going to be joined at the hip, as it were, to get each other elected, as they also seek to keep those three positions blue as well. Already, Benson's campaign saying that they are ready for the general election with $6.4 million in
Yes, John James is leading in the polls right now ahead of his opponent, Perry Johnson. You can see there are dozens of his supporters in this room in Sterling Heights. Lots of excitement here tonight, and they are eagerly awaiting for James to make a speech. Now, many supporters are confident James will come out on top. Those we spoke to say they voted for him instead of his opponent, Perry Johnson, because he leads with faith, is a veteran, longtime businessman, and they believe he will make Michigan more affordable again. Now, James plans to repeal the state income tax, which he says will save Michigan families thousands a year. He also wants to improve education and is focused on protecting the environment. The congressman also is endorsed by President Donald Trump, and that is the reason why many people inside this room and outside this room feel like he will win tonight. They're confident in that. Now, James is expected to make a speech. We just spoke with his campaign, and they say that he will speak once this race is called. And of course, if he does win tonight, he will, of course, face off against Democratic nominee for governor Jocelyn Benson in the November election. Reporting live in Sterling Heights, Autumn Pitcher, News Channel 3.
All right, Remington and Autumn, thank you so much. And one of the most closely watched races right now is the race for Michigan's open U.S. Senate seat. As you can see right here, Abdul El-Sayed is ahead with 51% of the vote and 13% of precincts reporting. And our team coverage continues tonight with News Channel 3's Tyler Brummett. He joins us live from Abdul El-Sayed's watch party in Detroit. Tyler?
Yeah, hi there, Jess. Good evening to you. I'll tell you what, we've got hundreds of supporters here for Abdul El-Sayed. I talked with some of them before this event began. They told me that they were confident, and we're still seeing that confidence on display. Many of them have been cheering throughout the night. Let me step out of the way. You can kind of hear them right now as the results continue to pour in here this evening. Now, we are expecting to hear from El-Sayed at some point tonight. If he does win, this could signal perhaps a major shift in the Democratic Party. Now, as far as his platform points, El-Sayed has said that he supports changing the Supreme Court's makeup and getting corporate money out of politics. He also wants to abolish immigration and customs enforcement. Now, among the people I talked with earlier was a man from Three Rivers. He says that he supports El-Sayed's campaign promise of Medicare for all. Again, we are continuing to watch what's going on here, but we can just see here that these folks, they are having a good time at this point. Again, they say that they are confident, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. Again, whoever wins tonight, they will go up against Mike Rogers in the general election. So again, as these results continue to come in, we'll keep a close eye on it and bring you the very latest, both on air and online. For now, though, we're live in Detroit. Tyler Brummett, News Channel 3.
And just in, the Associated Press has called the U.S. 4th Congressional District in Michigan for incumbent Republican Bill Huizenga defeating Phil Tanis. Again, Huizenga winning unofficially tonight. Also in Detroit, the Haley Stevens watch party. She is trailing her opponent Abdul El-Sayed by several percentage points, but the night is young. Our Princess Johnny Severson is live at her watch party with the latest tonight. Princess.
Good evening, Andy. As you mentioned, I am here at Representative Haley Stevens' watch party in Detroit. I've been here for several hours now, and I can tell you that the energy in the building has been anxiously building as people await to see whether or not she is going to be the Democratic nominee for Michigan's open U.S. Senate seat. You'll notice behind me it's quite empty. That's because all of her supporters are in a separate room from press, but I was able to get in a few hours ago, and I spoke to some of those supporters who explain why they believe that Haley Stevens is the #1 pick.
She stays ready. She don't have to get ready. She comes in on 10. She knows her job. She's dedicated. She's experienced. She's a go-getter. And then I told someone else, she's the voice for me.
Now, whether or not a winner for the Democratic nomination is announced either later tonight or early tomorrow. Soon, Democrats in Michigan will know who is going to represent them on November's ballot. Reporting live in Detroit, I'm Princess Johnny Steverson, News Channel 3.
Princess, thank you. Whoever becomes the Democratic nominee will face Republican Mike Rogers, who is running unopposed. Well, now that the two most far-reaching and impactful races have been unofficially decided tonight, almost, it is all eyes on November and, of course, the general election, too.
An election that could bring about a significant change in the balance of power in the United States Senate and in Lansing. As the governor's mansion's up for grabs, we are joined tonight by our regular guest, elections expert, WMU professor of political science, John Clark. John, thanks for being here as always.
My pleasure.
Always appreciate your insight on election nights. Haley Stevens, Abdul El-Sayed, they're both Democrats by party. They are almost exactly the same age, both from Rochester Hills. That's about where their similarities end. El-Sayed viewed as an extremist and Stevens is more of a moderate. It's fairly tight right now, but El-Sayed is in the lead. Who do you think's a better campaigner? Whose message do you think is resonating more with voters, and who could have a better shot against Mike Rogers in the fall?
Andy, those are great questions and important questions that people all over the country are asking tonight. I think there's no question that as a speaker, as an orator, Abdul El-Sayed is really good. That's probably his greatest strength going into this campaign. Haley Stevens has a reputation of being a hard worker. She's experienced as an incumbent member of the House. She won a swing district, and so that's sort of where her credentials lie. Beyond that, there's not a lot of similarities on the campaign trail. There may or may not be similarities, depending on whether one or the other were elected to the United States Senate. Probably most of the time they would agree, but there are some key issues where they don't agree. And that seems to be what's driving the energy in this campaign right now.
John, the Democrats do have a heavy lift if they want to retake the U.S. Senate. They need to flip several states. And should Michigan's U.S. Senate seat go to a Republican, hasn't done that in 25 years, that would make their job even more difficult. What are your thoughts about an Abdul El Sayed or Haley Stevens, Mike Rogers matchup? And do you think this could happen? Could the Dems hold on to it, or could the Republicans retake?
Yeah, that's the question that people all around the country are asking tonight, Andy, because they know that Michigan matters a lot. If the Democrats were to lose control of this seat, then it makes it that much harder for them to capture control of the Senate. And of course, control of the Senate is it's not just the House of Congress. It also has responsibility for approving nominations that President Trump might make, and a whole variety of other things. So Michigan matters a lot. It's going to be a big challenge for either of these candidates to win in the general election, in part because so many voters see this as such a divisive race. Whoever wins the nomination is going to have to figure out a way to bring the party back together. And probably the most important person in helping them do that is the person that they defeat. If we see the losing candidate get on board with the winning candidate, they can say, yes, we differ on these things, but what really matters is who wins in November. Then at least there's a shot that they can pull the party back together. It's going to be a heavy lift, though, for either of them against an experienced campaigner like Mike Rogers.
Well, John, let's pivot now to the gubernatorial race. The Associated Press, as you just heard, has now projected Jocelyn Benson as the Democratic nominee, and that call was made really early in the night tonight. What do you think are the biggest challenges she'll face against the Republican nominee?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges for her is the fact that Democratic control of the governor's office for the last 8 years means that at least some people are going to be tired of Democratic control of the governor's office. It's not very common in Michigan for the same party to hold the governor's office for more than 8 years. It's happened in the distant past, but not in the recent past.
Because history shows
and
that when we stand together,
Secretary Benson is known in the state, but not everybody loves the Secretary of State, even when the Secretary of State is doing a good job. So I think that's one of her biggest challenges. And of course, a lot of this will come down to turnout. And turnout is affected not only by the top of the ticket, but by races up and down the ticket.
And then as for the Republican ticket, John James came into this race with an endorsement from President Trump. Right now, he is leading over millionaire businessman Perry Johnson, who's been calling himself a political outsider. So what do you think tonight's results could tell us about the direction that Michigan voters are heading politically?
I'm not sure we're going to know an awful lot tonight. I think we'll learn a little bit. Every election we learn a little bit more, at least in the short run. But I think it's the case in the governor's race on the Republican side that the Trump endorsement was crucial. John James was doing fine in the polls, but it really wasn't until that endorsement came down that things really started to gel for his campaign. He might have been okay if Trump had stayed out of the race completely, but certainly getting that endorsement was big for winning the Republican nomination. The question is what effect that endorsement will have in the general election if President Trump's approval rating stays as low as it is right now.
All right. WMU political science professor John Clark, thanks so much for your time and insight, and we'll see you at 11 o'clock.
Thank you.
A lot to get to this election primary night, including a look at some other congressional and state legislative races. Plus, we check in with Chief Meteorologist Keith Thompson with a look at your forecast.
Mackenzie, can you do a mic check, please?
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, mic check.
You're watching News Channel 3, live at 10.
And welcome back. We are continuing to watch the numbers come in tonight for Michigan's open U.S. Senate seat. Let's take a look right now.
And we are also,
This is with 14% of precincts reporting, and it looks like Abdul El-Sayed is still in the lead at 51%.
All right, we're also following the gubernatorial race. Voters deciding tonight between Perry Johnson and John James. Right now, John James has a clear lead at 50% of votes, compared to Perry Johnson's 36% of the votes. Of course, not all precincts in there, only 13% reporting at this early hour. And we're still following the Democratic side. Again, the Associated Press has declared Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson as the clear winner by a landslide over Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson. At last check, 84% of incoming votes for Benson to 16% for Swanson. And the bigger primaries aren't only for the governor's office and the U.S. Senate seat. There are also several races for Michigan's U.S. House seats.
And we have several right in our area, including the districts that primarily cover Kalamazoo, Calhoun, Allegan, and Van Buren counties. News Channel 3's Mackenzie Decker joining us live in the studio tonight to break down those candidates for you. Mackenzie.
Yeah, Jess, so there are 3 districts we'll be looking into, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, beginning with Michigan's 4th Congressional District. This is the only race with candidates contested on both sides of the ticket. For the Republican nominees, Bill Huizenga is running against Philip Tanis, the Associated Press calling the unofficial winner for now as Bill Huizenga. On to the Democratic side, you have Diop Harris II running against Sean McCann, with McCann currently in the lead there. Moving now to Michigan's 3rd District, Ryan Cushman is up against Terry DeBoer for the Republican primary, with DeBoer leading so far, 30% reporting there. Incumbent Hillary Skolton is running unopposed on the Democratic ticket. And as for the U.S. House seat in Michigan's 5th District, both parties are running unopposed. Tim Walberg is running as a Republican. Christian Vukasevich is running as the Democrat. We'll have much more information on each candidate on our website, including a little bit of their prior experience. Andy, Jess, back to you.
All right, Mackenzie, thanks so much. Continuing coverage on the Michigan gubernatorial race. On the Republican ticket, John James and Perry Johnson. As you can see right now, John James still in the lead, 50%, with 13% reporting. And tonight, our Colin Roos is in Troy at Johnson's watch party.
He spoke to some of his supporters, talking about why they support his outsider status.
The mood at the Perry Johnson party tonight is optimistic here in Troy. People are walking in wearing not only Perry Johnson campaign shirts, but also one supporting President Donald Trump, with many telling me they believe that his vision aligns with the president's. Now, Johnson has never held political office and has positioned himself as going against the political establishment in Lansing. He's made financial accountability a main point of his campaign. Now, signs around the room read 47-47. Johnson wants to eliminate the state income tax and lower lower property taxes and says $4,747 is how much an average family of four will save. The Johnson supporters I spoke with feel distrustful of the direction of the Democratic Party and Lansing leadership more broadly.
I think there's a lot of cronyism from the township hall all the way to Washington, D.C., and I think most Americans would agree.
The direction of the Democratic Party now today, I'm not sure I'll even stay in Michigan. It's that bad.
Education was also a priority for his voters. One teacher told me she wants him to put more pressure on schools to get results for their students. Now, Johnson's financial support for his own campaign also impressed supporters, some of whom said they supported John James at first. In Troy, I'm Colin Roos.
Quiet night across West Michigan, just a few scattered clouds. It is a little bit humid out there. We start off by saying hello to South Haven. This is the live view looking right down the Black River Channel. They're all quiet. This is downtown Coldwater. Thanks to the city of Coldwater for the view here at Four Corners. And again, all quiet in the heart of Branch County too. Let's go hour by hour. Here's what's next. And that is a chance for some scattered showers, maybe even a thunderstorm or two. We certainly need the rain. Running my hour by hour here up to about 7 o'clock in the morning. Big Rapids, Fremont, just to the west of Holland. Let's watch what happens to those showers here by noon. Allegan, Holland, Grand Rapids could be seeing some of this. I will say this is just one model's view here. There have been some discrepancies in the model output here, and as a result, we'll have to wait and see on some of these showers, but it does look like we could see some late morning, early afternoon showers. Just a couple of scattered showers tomorrow afternoon. Another wave moving through late tomorrow night. Then kicking out temporarily for Thursday morning at daybreak. May pick up some more action later in the day on Thursday, too. Let's look live. And Grand Rapids, as we say hello to the heart of Kent County, looking right down the Grand over the Blue Bridge and also over the S-curve, too. Visibility is A-OK. Temperatures are still quite warm, 74 right now in Grand Rapids. The same in Kalamazoo. It's a little cooler than that in Battle Creek and Three Rivers. We have some upper 60s showing up. Look at Sturgis. Marshall right now at 66 degrees, but it's going to be mild here. Just a few clouds. Quite muggy. In fact, it's a night for the AC if you've got it. Those overnight low temperatures will be hanging out mainly in the mid 60s. And then for tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, as I noted on the hour by hour. A few scattered showers, a thunderstorm or two not out of the question. Look for that high temperature to be in the lower 80s. On to your 7-day forecast. A chance for showers and thunderstorms too on Thursday. We have to cross fingers and toes because we certainly need the rain. And then it gets a little bit warmer for Friday. Another threat for a scattered shower or two over the weekend. Jessica?
Keith, thank you. And our election coverage continues tonight. Coming up next, we take a look at some of the races being considered in Lansing.